The first explosion shook the runway like thunder splitting the earth. Flames erupted from the belly of the jet, black smoke curling violently into the gray sky. Panic spread instantly. Airport staff, passengers, and workers ran in every direction, their faces pale with terror. Everyone ran away from the burning aircraft, everyone except one man. While the crowd fled from the heat and chaos, a single father ran toward it. Before we continue, if you believe in courage, kindness, and second chances, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who believes in humanity, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps keep powerful stories like this alive. The man running toward the flames was Daniel Carter, a 34-year-old airport maintenance worker whose life had already been tested by hardships most people could barely imagine. 2 years earlier, Daniel had lost his wife to a sudden illness, leaving him to raise his 5-year-old daughter Lily alone. Life had not been easy since then. Every morning began before sunrise, preparing Lily for school before rushing to the airport for his long shifts fixing equipment and inspecting runways. Every night ended with him reading Lily a bedtime story while silently promising himself he would do anything to give her a better future. That morning had started like any other. Daniel had just finished inspecting runway lights when he heard the deafening roar of the jet's engine failing. Within seconds, the aircraft skidded violently across the runway, sparks flying as metal scraped against asphalt. Then came the explosion. People screamed. Sirens began wailing. Airport vehicles raced toward the scene while workers scrambled for safety. Daniel's heart pounded in his chest as he stared at the massive flames swallowing the plane. His mind told him to run like everyone else. But then he saw something that stopped him cold. Near the rear exit of the jet, a small figure appeared briefly through the smoke. A child. For a split second, Daniel froze. The image of his daughter Lily flashed through his mind. The way she smiled when he picked her up from school. The way she wrapped her tiny arms around him before bedtime. The thought of a child trapped inside that burning plane struck him like lightning. Without another thought, Daniel ran straight toward the fire. The heat was unbearable even from a distance. Thick smoke clawed at his lungs as he sprinted across the runway. Airport security shouted for him to stop, but their voices disappeared behind the roar of flames and chaos. Every step closer made the air heavier, hotter, harder to breathe. Inside his mind, fear battled with determination. Daniel knew he wasn't a firefighter. He had no protective gear, no training for this kind of disaster. But he also knew one thing with absolute certainty. If Lily were trapped in that plane, he would pray someone would run toward her. That thought alone pushed him forward. As he reached the side of the aircraft, the flames crackled violently along the wing. Debris scattered across the ground. The emergency slide had partially deployed but was tangled and useless. Through the smoke-filled doorway, Daniel could hear faint cries. He pulled his jacket over his mouth and stepped inside. The scene inside the jet looked like something from a nightmare. Overhead compartments hung open. Smoke filled the cabin so thick it burned his eyes instantly. The lights flickered weakly as distant explosions echoed somewhere beneath the plane. Passengers had already escaped from the front exits, but toward the back, the smoke had trapped several people. Daniel forced himself forward through the aisle, coughing violently. His hands trembled, but he kept moving. Then he saw her. A little girl, maybe 6 or 7 years old, crouched beside a seat, crying and clutching a small stuffed rabbit. Her mother lay unconscious beside her, trapped under a fallen luggage compartment. Daniel's chest tightened painfully. For a moment, he imagined Lily sitting there alone in the smoke. Adrenaline surged through his body. He rushed to the woman first, lifting the metal frame just enough to pull her free. It felt like lifting a mountain, but somehow he managed. Then he gently grabbed the girl's hand. Her fingers were shaking, but she held on tightly. Daniel carried the unconscious mother over his shoulder and guided the girl through the smoke-filled aisle. Every breath burned his lungs, and the heat intensified as the flames spread deeper into the aircraft. Halfway to the exit, another explosion rocked the plane. The cabin lights went out. For a terrifying moment, everything was darkness and fire. Daniel stumbled but refused to stop. He followed the faint glow of daylight ahead, his legs screaming in pain with every step. Finally, they burst through the doorway into the open air. Airport firefighters rushed forward immediately, pulling the survivors away from the burning jet. Daniel collapsed onto the runway, gasping for breath as paramedics surrounded the mother and child. The little girl looked back at him one last time before being taken to safety. She waved weakly. Daniel lay on the cold pavement, staring at the sky as sirens screamed around him. His hands were burned, his lungs aching, and his body exhausted beyond words. But in his heart, there was peace. Later that evening, as the news spread across the country, reporters called him a hero. Headlines praised the brave single father who ran into flames to save strangers. But when Daniel finally returned home that night, Lily ran into his arms with the biggest smile he had ever seen. And in that moment, he didn't feel like a hero. He just felt like a father who had done what any parent would hope someone else would do for their child. Before we finish this story, I want to ask something special from you. Please write in the comments, heroes still exist. Let's remind the world that courage and kindness are still alive. Days later, Daniel received a letter from the little girl he had saved. Inside was a simple drawing made with crayons. It showed a stick figure man running toward a burning airplane while everyone else ran away. Above the drawing were the words written in shaky handwriting. My hero. Daniel placed the drawing on the wall beside Lily's bed. And every night when he tucked her in, he looked at that picture and remembered one powerful truth. Sometimes the bravest thing a person can do is run toward the fire when everyone else is running away. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, share it with others, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel so more people can hear stories that remind us how powerful humanity can be. Red Heart.